Hi, I'm Jalen Rose, and welcome to the Renaissance Man podcast, proudly presented by the New York Post, a show where we cover trends in fashion, entertainment, current events, and everything in between. My next guest covers all of those bases. As a matter of fact, he's the king of the South, actor, reality TV star, entrepreneur, restaurateur, podcast host, and philanthropist who played a major part in the history of trap music and transcended regional confines while still repping Bankhead to the fullest. Now he's starring in the psychological thriller movie Fear, which is about a weekend vacation that turns sinister. And you can see how he's dressed when a group of friends must confront their worst fears one by one. It is my honor to welcome the legendary, iconic Tip Harris to the Renaissance Man. What up, though, family?
Hey, man, listen, bro, I appreciate you for having me. I really need you to come with me to do that introduction everywhere I go. If you could just, before I walk in a room, if I could just get you to go in, man.
Yes, yes, you deserve
I didn't
that.
even need a drum roll or nothing. You hear me?
No doubt, family. I got you, Rubber Band Man. And as you know, I know your history, and I'm a huge fan and consider you family. But I got to ask you questions like my audience doesn't know. So I have to ask. You're not only one of the greatest lyricists in the game, but I want to ask you, when did you realize at around 9 years of age? Give me a snapshot of that period of your life and what it was like for you growing up in Bankhead.
Man, I was a very how can I say, mischievous young man. I was moving around in everything, but I was always smart. I was the kid that went to public school, Grove Park Elementary on Bankhead, and I was always one of the kids that would finish the work like early. I finished work before everybody else. I wasn't being properly challenged in school, so of course I act out. And as a youngster, man, I learned very quick being one of the smallest in the class, one, light skin and, I guess baby face, well dressed. And when the teacher called on me, I could read fluently, you know what I mean? And so I got a lot of side eye, a lot of cats, I guess they saw that as, I guess, I don't want to say weakness, but vulnerability. And I learned early, man, I could either pretend to not be so smart, or I could show the cats getting in trouble that even though I'm smart, I can get in just as much trouble as them. And I chose the latter. You know what I'm saying? So I got in a lot of trouble, but I always maintained good grades, probably until my uncle went to prison.
One thing I always appreciated about you is not only your talent, but your transparency. And that's, for me, what makes you a young legend in a lot of ways. So as you discovered the streets and started to find yourself making decisions that could put you in harm of the law, at what point in your life and your career did you decide that rap music could be my way out?
I must admit to you, bro, I started rapping first. You know what I mean? I'm from Bankhead, and my grandmama and all my family have been based there all my life. But I started rapping like in second, third grade, just writing raps to challenge myself. My uncle told me if I got in trouble again that week, he was gonna kick my ass. So I knew that after I finished my work, it was a test we were taking. After I finished my test, I had to occupy my time. That made me challenge myself to write a rap before everybody else was done, and I did. After I did it, I kicked it at the cafeteria table. You know what I mean? Everybody went crazy, didn't believe I wrote it. Said, well, do another one. So overnight, I write another rap. You know what I'm saying? Do it again. So then I did it again on the playground. Folk went crazy. And that's when I found out this is my thing. You dig? That when I found out this is what I can do, you know what I'm saying? And not many people can do, at least not do it as well as me. And but at the time, I really thought I had to grow up, like be a grown up before I pursued it. I didn't understand until Crisscross came out. And I could do this now. You feel me? And around the time when Crisscross came out, I was again running the streets, not running the streets selling no dope, nothing like that. I was still selling candy in school for the most part. That was like, my little hustle. When I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I go to Sound Warehouse, give me a bunch of candy, sell it in school. And so, that's how that's my first experience with entrepreneurship. And when Crisscross came out, they let me know, I could start now. Then I started trying to find studio, doing demos and so on and so forth. That didn't work. A few years of that didn't work. I got frustrated. And naturally, I saw people like Master P, that came at other people who were kind of taking matters in their own hand, not waiting on no record label. That when I kind of like show, okay, well, let me just dive in. I'm gonna dive in the streets and start, around out here. And, that's when that part of my life began.
So as an inspiration, I have to ask you, because it sounds like we come from the era, and I'm glad you alluded to it, is that the hustler spirit is who we are.
Sure.
And whether it's you writing raps, doing your work in school, or selling candy, like, you're going to find a way to be successful. So can you channel that and highlight that for the young people out there that sometimes they get discouraged? They don't have money right now.
Right.
They have to wait for their goals and dreams to come true. And it takes time for your dreams to actually happen.
Sure.
So can you provide inspiration of what it was like for you during that period of time when you knew that you wanted to rap because you were writing rhymes early, but at the same time, I got to sell this candy. I got to do whatever I got to do to survive right now?
I think, man, one of the best things I did early was find my passion and understand what it was I wanted to do soon. You know what I mean? I ain't really have a lot of time where I was just like oblivious, like, I'm just moving without a purpose. I always knew what I wanted to do, even when it was the wrong thing that I wanted to do. I always knew what I wanted to do, right? And I think everybody out there they have something that they can offer the world that can't nobody offer like them or as good as them. And once you find what that thing is, that's when your purpose becomes your passion. And then, you know what I'm saying, the dots begin to connect. Things start taking off for you. You know what I mean? Until then, you just got to be present in the moment. You got to be aware with yourself, aware of yourself, and honest with yourself. And as far as the funds, to be the money out there, it's gonna come. You put yourself in certain positions, and you kind of what you do with your day will determine how much money you have when you go to bed at night. You know what I mean? How you spend your hours. Everybody wake up, got the same time in the day. Some people bullshit most of the day. Some people buy business most of the day. Right. But how you spend them hours is going to determine what you go home with at night. So I think that just continue to stay focused on business, learn as much as you can. Learn as much as you can, surround yourself with people who can teach you the things that you need to know.
Who were your music idols when you were young?
Well, first off, man, it was LL Cool J, LL Cool J, Rakim, man, NWA, Tupac, Snoop, Dre, Outkast, Goody Mob, UGK, 8 Ball, MJG, 2 Live Crew, you feel, Scarface. It could go with Jay-Z, Biggie. I could go on and on, you know what I mean? I just was a fan of the culture. You dig? I just loved it. I was the kind of kid, anything dropped, I'm going to get it. I don't care what it was, even if it's anything. I brought Fushnikins. I bought DOS Effects. I bought, you know what I'm saying, Crit Crawl, ABC. I bought Brand Nubian. I bought, you know what I mean? I bought everything. Everything, the entire spectrum. I bought Twister, Common. You know, I just was like, I studied the culture. And to be honest with you, I won't even say nothing sucked, because at the time when it dropped, I found something to like about everything.
No doubt.
Just because I was on the outside looking in, you know what I'm saying? I found something to like and appreciate about everything. I might didn't listen to the entire tape, but I find me a song or two and I'd appreciate it. And that, I guess, experience opening me up into, just into the creative space just made me want it even more. And I just always just imagined what it would be like for me when I made it there, how I handled my time when I got there.
You've always been a student of the craft. And one of the compliments that I like to pay to you, and in sports, I said this about Allen Iverson. Now I say this about Ja Morant. You sound older than you are. and because your experience and your wisdom seems to precede your words. Right. And so at what moment did you feel you had what it take to make it in the music and the entertainment industry?
Probably when I saw that crisscross video, when I heard about ABC, or, when I knew it was other cats my age competing on a professional level, I felt like I could get in the mix. You know what I mean? I just didn't know. I didn't know how to get there. I ain't had no relationships. I ain't had the resources that I needed. But I always felt like I had what it took.
But also, you're not just somebody that raps into a microphone. You also an actor. So I have to ask you, when did you know that not only rhyming, but acting is something I could do?
Man, I always knew it was something I wanted to do, but I didn't know it was something that I could do until ATL came out. You know what I'm saying? I was taking a shot, you know what I'm saying? And at first I didn't really take the opportunity very seriously, man. Till I almost got fired. Like I almost got fired like on the third day. And I had a talk with Chris Robinson and Charlie Mack, and they were just like, yo, it's a huge opportunity for us. You're a first-time actor as the star of this film. There's a lot of other first-time actors, and Chris would say, I'm a first-time director. Like, we depending on you, But I was like, in my head, man, I was already straight. And it was a lot of discipline that was required for me to kind of focus and kind of zero in on the opportunity. But after they kind of, put it on me as being, kind of like the captain of the team, if you will. Mm-hmm. I took it more serious, and I just felt more responsible for the outcome of all these people who was involved, you know what I mean? And then I started to really care about it. I started to focus more. I started to prepare myself for my scenes. I started to care about being there on time. Mm-hmm. All the other stuff that I was not doing before I almost got fired. And the outcome, I saw the outcome. You know what I mean? And the outcome was they wasn't expecting that film to be good. Mm-hmm. It really wasn't. They was like, we'll write this out because Will Smith is a part of it. We'll go ahead and go with it, but we ain't expecting much. I think I heard that they wasn't expecting but $8 million total to come back from that movie. And we did like 14 million the first week. And it did a lot for Atlanta. It did a lot for the generation. It did a lot for the other actors and actresses that was involved. It did a lot for, it did a lot for I just feel like, and it did a lot for my music career. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Yes. Putting me on the big screen and marketing my album came with a movie that had the P&A budget from Warner Brothers to go along with the P&A budget from Atlantic Records, it kind of like, you know, it made for the perfect storm. And, you know, since then, we ain't really looked back.
So as hip hop turns 50 in 2023, you one of the perfect people to ask this question. And you've already touched on it a little bit.
Okay.
Can you name me your top 5 rappers turn actors?
Damn. Damn. Tupac, Will Smith, Q, Ice-T, man, Queen Latifah.
Hall of Fame list. And I was sitting back watching the list that I have of my favorite movies, and I'm like, usually they feature a rapper or a comedian. So I have to ask, now you're doing stand-up comedy. Talk about breaking into that industry, and what has it been like, and what have you learned from yourself entertaining a different audience?
Man, I wouldn't necessarily call it breaking into the industry. I'm just kind of happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? I consider myself a student. And what I've learned about myself, I've learned that, well, there's 3 versions of us. There's how the world sees us, how we see ourselves, and who we really are. You know what I mean? Now, with the music, it's heavy on how I see myself. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know me. You know what I mean? Still ain't forgave myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's heavy on me telling you about me. You know what I mean? In comedy, you got to really focus in on how the world sees you. You got to tap into how you feel the crowd views you. If you present yourself as something that the crowd don't see you as, it's not going to connect. You feel what I'm saying? But ultimately, if you tap in and start like understanding, okay, they see me like this. Let me start like this and get in there. And then maybe I can, you know what I'm saying, ultimately end up at who I really am. And, you know, that's kind of like, that's what I've learned, you know what I mean, in comedy, that to make people laugh, you got to tap into something that they're already kind of thinking, you know what I mean?
So there's so many times when I'm listening to music, in particular the radio, and as you know, I spend a ton of time in Atlanta, and everything sounds like I'm in the A. So I have to ask you, as King of the South, literally, what is it like for you as one of the originators of trap music, and now to see the Atlanta sound basically become mainstream?
I mean, it's a phenomenal feeling to be, you know, part of such a significant, impactful art form, you know what I'm saying? And such a significant, impactful city surrounded by so many significant, impactful artists, you know. But one thing I can't even hold you back. The founder of trap music is the person that made the album where the 2 words were first ever combined to describe a sound. Trap and music had never been put together before 2003. Yeah, I mean, you've heard the word trap. I mean, you probably heard music about trapping, but to really, really place a name on the genre, trap music, that hadn't happened before 2003.
And
And it
who
feels
was that?
good. It feel good. I ain't even gonna say, hey man, look, man, only fools dispute facts. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
it's Googleable. I don't even, you know, it ain't
So I
really.
thought it was DJ Toomp.
Man, nah, DJ Toomp will tell you that. But from a producer standpoint, it very well can be. As far as the artist, the face, the voice, the words to go along with it, it would have to be DJ Toomp's protege. However, other people have, because the reason that it was so impactful, everybody was affected by the war on drugs. We're all refugees.
Yep.
Everybody was impacted by the crack era. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Everybody was. I don't care whether you sold it, you knew somebody who smoked it, whether your daddy went to jail for selling it, whether it don't matter what. Some kind of way, everyone was impacted. Therefore, when trap music came out, and it came out as philosophy set the music about a period in time where, you know, a lot of people were affected and a lot of people shared similar experiences. Then other people gonna say, oh man, hell yeah, you know what? I have a story to tell. And I have a story to tell. And every time somebody, like, you know, tell their version of the story, it takes it a step farther, stretches it out wider, lets it get bigger, lets it get broader. And now to the day, it has evolved, man, to a genre that's probably the strongest in the world. You know what I mean? With some of the biggest artists in the world. And that's not something that I could have done by myself, or Tunk could have done by himself. Right. I'm just proud to be able to introduce it to the world.
And also, when you in Atlanta, make sure you guys go check out the museum.
Please.
It recognizes the history and the culture of not only Atlanta music, but of trap music.
Yeah.
And so also, I must pay homage and salute, because I've always appreciated as a Detroiter how the public figures and the entertainers and the celebrities do a great job of giving back to the community in Atlanta and putting on and using y'all power politically. You see it when you get off the airplane. You see it at the airport. You see it on billboards. You see it at you guys having restaurants and things of that nature. So how important is it for you to make sure that you're tapped in politically?
Man, you know what, bro? Yeah. Bro, it's important for me to have a connection to the community. You know what I'm saying? It's important for me to fill the gap, find ways to be of service to the community.
Yep.
The politics of it, you know, I just want to support somebody with a genuine interest to help the community. You know what I mean? I ain't really into politics like that. I mean, I'm into it when it's somebody that I feel that the community can trust, that I can get behind. Then I get behind them, you know. But politics is is flimsy, you know what I mean? And it's not a lot of sincerity in it, and it's not a lot of truth.
True.
And the honest representatives are far and few in between. So when you find one that you can trust, when you find one that you know has a genuine interest to help the people, you just want to stand behind them and uplift them and support them and make sure that they have the things that they need so the needs of the community can be met. That's how I feel about politics. You know, but I think the community is first. The community is first, and what the community needs should remain first.
And what the community needs is to know about your restaurant. You know what I'm saying? I need to come and represent. Tell us about the restaurant, where it is, what's on the menu. Tell us about it.
Man, it's called Trap City Cafe, man. It's a lounge. We call it the Vibe Emporium. You know what I'm saying? We provide vibes to the community, man. A place where people can come and chill and kick it, eat, smoke hookah, have drinks, and really just vibe out. You know, we play games, we play spades, Jenga. You know what I'm saying? We do karaoke on nights, and you know, comedy. We got a comedy night, and in the community that it's in, right next door to the Trap Music Museum, located in the Bluff, right off of Northside and Bankhead. It ain't really that kind of service being provided or made available for the community, you know?
Correct.
And I just really wanted to take the opportunity through my abilities and my vision to turn it into a little arts and entertainment district. You know, so these are just the first installments, man. We'll be continuing with more and more and more to enhance the experience for the community.
And that's dope. And before I let you get out of here, I have to ask you this. You said publicly, success is when preparation meet opportunity.
Right.
What ways would you advise someone to prepare for their big opportunity?
Man, it's gonna be something that sounds simple yet complicated all at the same time, man. Okay, but it's two things: listen to people who know what you don't. Read the things that have the information you need. Like those two things to me are simple, very, very complicated for a lot of our people. You know what I'm saying? I think if you can manage to do those things, if you can listen to people, you know what I mean, listen when you're around people that know what you don't, and it's difficult for me, even still.
Yep.
You know, I'm very loquacious. You know what I'm saying? You know, I like to speak. I love the tone of my voice. It puts me to sleep. Nah, man. But when you learn to listen more than you speak to the people who know more than you, and you learn to find the books that have the information you need to develop the knowledge, you know, that it takes for you to take your necessary steps forward. Those are the two, I think, the top two things.
And I must make sure that we acknowledge your new movie coming out, Fear.
Yeah.
Shout out to Deon Taylor. Can't wait till this come out very soon. Everybody go support that. Go check that. It's independent. It's T.I. It's Joseph Sikora. It's going to be dope, 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 dope. So tell me about your role and what people can take from your new film.
Man, first of all, man, it's a collective effort. All of us came together, man, and nobody knew what to expect. We shot this film during the time in our country when no films in production. It was when everybody was saying, nah, man, you can't get no permit to shoot no movie, ain't nobody.
Right.
And Deon found a way. And Deon really just, you know, he hit me super excited. You know what I'm saying? Man, I got a film, I got a movie, you got to be in it, man. I'm like, all right, bro, ain't nobody doing no movies, bro. We doing it. They ain't doing it, but we is. We start next week. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, what the film? What kind of movie? And he told me it was a horror film. I've never done a horror film before. Not really, you know, my ideal genre at the time. But when he kind of told me the opportunity and who else was involved and how he was doing it, and then that there was an opportunity to come on as a producer to invest alongside the other stars who were investing. So we did this movie for a number, and a number of us in the cast invested as producers. So we, along with Deon, put our money up and our time, our attention, you know, and we kind of just trusted the process. You know, talking about fear, I have a fear of losing my money. You know what I'm saying? Like my money up, that's a big fear. You know what I'm saying? We don't know if they're gonna shut the sit down. You know what I mean? We don't know. Somebody could catch COVID and it's over with. And you know, we gotta trust the process. We gotta trust Deon's vision. We gotta step out on faith. And that's what we did, man. And when I got to sit, man, everybody like we just had such a camaraderie and a brotherhood. We just and it was, and the place we was at, this lodge was really haunted. So we stuck together. You feel me? But it came out dope, bro. It came out dope because we believed in it, and because Deon's vision, man, he wrote it as well, so he knew what he needed from everybody. He already knew what he wanted to see on camera. My character Lou is from Detroit.
What up, though?
You dig what I'm saying? And he was the glue of his crew. The strong guy that none of the homies got to check on. You know what I'm saying? And he was there for a special occasion. I ain't gonna ruin too much, but you know, Joseph Sikora's character, Terrence J's character was Lou's best friends, and you know they grown up together, and there was a special occasion for the weekend, so everybody came together. and they didn't know that this lodge was haunted, and I already had some spirits that tapped into fears. If you acknowledge your fears, and they feed into them, and they manifest them into a reality. The more you pay attention to your fear, the more your fears become a reality. And my character's fear was, he just had a fear of not being needed or trusted or called upon or believed in by his partners. That was kind of that's what kept him going. Now why he eventually ended up not being needed or believed in by partners, and how he responded to it, is the unraveling of that character. And each of those characters have their individual fears that, they have to deal with in the film.
Gotcha. Can't wait to check that out. Make sure y'all go support. But before I let you get out of here, King of the South, I have a rapid fire segment called Gone in 60 Seconds.
Let's hit it.
So my first question, besides losing your money and your role, what is your greatest fear?
My greatest fear is not being able to be there for the people that depend on me when they need me. Not necessarily physically, like be there in person, but like be there to provide the answers, the information, be there to utilize my experiences on their behalf, to let people down when they need me the most. That's my biggest fear.
And one of the things I've always loved about you, besides that you're a dope artist and you stay true to who you are, is that the toughest thing for a public figure is to introduce us to his family. And so I have to ask you, you and your wife Tiny are one of the most transparent couples in the entertainment industry. Give us a relationship truth bomb that everyone needs to hear.
A truth bomb?
Yes, indeed.
I mean, as you mentioned, we've been pretty transparent. I think a lot of people think I run the show. She really like she's the mean one. You hear me? She's the big stepper. You dig? A lot of people think it's me, but she really the one who calling the shots.
And I have to ask you this, because in the first video, seeing you with the fur coat, seeing you with the Phantom, I always tell stories about some of the worst purchases that I ever made in my life. So I have to ask you, what's one of the craziest purchases you look back at and be like, that was a bad decision?
There are so many.
Me too.
You know what I mean? There's so many, bro. I mean, man, I overpaid for a penthouse, just because I wanted it and didn't get the money that I was supposed to get out for it, because I just had to have it right then. I mean, I overpaid for a mansion before. Really, man, when I was just getting money, I did, on my 25th birthday, I bought an Aston Martin and a McLaren SLR the same day, cash.
Same day.
Cash.
Can't drive them both same day.
And that's what I realized that you know what I'm saying? I've gone and bought, charms and chains for all of my partners. And you know what I'm saying? I bought chains for people who didn't even wear jewelry, Thank you, but I don't. I bought watches for cats who really, like, man, I would appreciate the money. It's so many things, bro. But due to the grace of God,
yes,
I have been able to learn from my mistakes, and my investments have overwhelmed my negative purchases on liabilities. You dig? And that's how I can still stay here, man, and live to spend another day.
No doubt. Spend another day. And lastly, but certainly not least, you'll appreciate this one. Who's a musical artist that you feel deserves to get more props?
Damani, my son. My son Demanded. That's one of the most recent. Historically, you got people like Big Boy from Outkast,
Good one.
Scarface,
Mm,
Twister, Common, as I said, man, E40, um,
mm.
people like Bun B, you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Uh, 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 man, so many, Rakim,
Mm.
it's a lot of them, bro. It's too many to name. Kilo Ali, MC Shadi from,
Shadi.
you feel me? A Damn Shame,
Mm.
Ghetto Mafia, um, Yo Gotti. Uh, I think it's a lot of people, bro. I think it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that had major impact. That had a lot of significant impact in the game. And because the game has gotten so broad, you can't give but so much attention to each at a time. And
Agreed.
there's so many of us that, sometimes you got to go back or you got to be reintroduced. But those are just a few that I think of the name.
I
And
appreciate you, King of the South.
man, love and respect.
T.I.P. Harris, entrepreneur, young OG, and legend. Forever grateful for you taking the time, my brother.
Love, man. Hey, man,
Love
come on.
is love.
When you hit the city, man, you got to pull up on me.
Done and done.
All right, man.
ASAP
Thank
this
you so
month.
much.